Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock and it's time for a Talk Magic. Very special Talk Magic taking place right here, right now, because I am with two people. I am with, first of all, no stranger to Magic TV, somebody who's got his own incredible YouTube channel, somebody I'm very proud of being associated with on Netflix, an incredible performer, inventor, somebody who recently went on Penn and Teller Fool Us. I'm talking about Michael O'Brien. The other person I've got with me is somebody I don't know very well myself, but if Michael vouches for him, that's all I need to know. And apparently, he's the man that's kind of put a lot of what we're going to be talking about together. And he is Buck Brown. And together, Buck Brown. Good grief! I'm so sorry. It's 2 a.m.
It's so good, so good.
But between them together, they are Deuce Gala. How you doing, guys? Are you okay?
Oh man, I couldn't have asked for a better introduction.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. It was a very sleepy 2 a.m. introduction, guys. But welcome to Magic TV. And I needed to get you on the channel because one of the things that's causing such a huge buzz in the industry right now is Deuce Gala. Everyone's talking about it. The socials are absolutely everywhere. There's been controversy with YouTube channels going down or something like that, which is really interesting. And you guys have came out of nowhere. Me and Lloyd were talking about it on the podcast recently. And you know, if it comes on our radar on the podcast, you know that everyone's talking about it. So first of all, congratulations on creating a huge buzz in the community. That's obviously something that you wanted to do. But I'm here to try to kind of cut through everything and figure out exactly what's going on. So I want to ask some questions and find out more about Deuce Gala. Is that all right with you guys? Would that be okay?
Permission granted.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's do it.
But before I actually get into Deuce Gala and what it is, and more importantly, what the hell the name means, before I do any of that, let's do some introductions. Now, obviously, as I said, Michael's no stranger to YouTube. He's no stranger to Magic TV. So we'll start with you, Michael. Obviously, you've been around this industry for a long time. Is there anything new you can tell us about you, or should we just refer everyone to your interview?
Yeah, so for those of you who have never seen or heard of me before, hello, Michael O'Brien. As Craig mentioned before, we did a Talk Magic a year and a half, 2 years ago. Shoot, I don't even know how long ago it's been now.
I'll tell you how long ago it was, Michael. On that interview, I asked you, I said, do you have any aspirations and goals for the future? And you went, one day, I'd really like to be on Penn and Teller Fool Us.
Nice.
And what do you know? What do you know? You know what? I'm going to say that the Talk Magic interview is probably what gave me that little extra bump. But no, seriously, it's been great. COVID, you know, all this stuff that's going on in the world has kind of slowed things down for me Magic career-wise. I still am crushing it at the Magic Shop at Disneyland. I'm still doing that. So if anyone wants to come visit and say hello, feel free to stop by. I had my appearance on Fool Us and all that good stuff. But otherwise, the last 4 or 5 months of my life has been hanging out with Mr. Buck Bowen over here and getting Deuce Gala running. And if anything, I think I'd like to kind of pass it over to Buck and let him introduce himself. That's
yes, okay. Please, because I want to know more about Buck. I don't really know you very well, Buck. So tell me more about who you are and kind of, not so much about Deuce Gala yet, but who you are, how you got involved in the Magic community, and kind of your story up until this point, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time do we have?
Well, these things run. When Sean Farquhar did one of these, it was 6 hours long, so we're good.
Only? Okay. So my origin story is, I mean, there's not, basically it's kind of same as everybody, right? When I was 8 years old, my grandpa did, you know, pulled a coin. Mine's a little bit unique in that, you know, everybody was 8 years old. I was actually 6, and it wasn't my grandpa, it was my uncle. And he actually pulled a silver $50 out of my butt. And I was really upset because I had been saving that for quite some time. So needless to say, I completely lost interest at that point. Not in Magic, just on all of my investment. So, yeah, what you can do. But No, my actual origin story is so silly. You said 6 hours, right?
Yeah,
Anyway,
got that.
hashtag goals. How I actually got into magic, this would have been around 2014, and I can't remember the specifics. I know I probably wrote about this in my journal, but from memory, it was one of two ways. It was either one, I got inspired by a guy named Mystery, who was I don't know if you're familiar with the Venusian arts, or like the old school pickup stuff. It was either him or it would have been Penn and Teller, because around that time I was going through like this big skeptic phase, and I was like, I'm going to use magic to prove all this stuff about religion, and so it was one of those two things. And for me, probably more than anything, I see myself as an entertainer. So, whether it's music, whether it's magic or video production, for me, I like making people laugh. I like making people think. And that's one of the things for me about magic that's just so amazing is, whether you want to impress somebody, whether you want to stroke your ego, or if you have, an idea or a philosophy that you want to promote, magic can help you do that. And so for me, that's, really why magic is so important and so powerful to me. And overall, like, if you haven't told, I probably lean more towards the comedy side of magic. There's a quote by Tom Edenfield. Edenfield, I think that's his name. This was actually told to me, so I'm probably not going to get this entirely correct, but it serves my purposes. So, and this kind of explains sort of like my approach. He said, I don't want to be known as the magic guy. I want to be known as the guy who, when he's around, magic just happens. And I really love that. And so, for me, my two favorite types of magic are, one is going to be magic with everyday objects. Shout out to George Schindler. And then my second favorite style of magic is going to be anything that annoys real magicians. So, like, you might catch me at the cellar at the castle performing, Crazy Cube or the Coloring Book, Chris Capart's version, of course. So, by the way, cellar, not a good place to perform that for the obvious reasons. But yeah, I would say overall that's kind of who I am, just an entertainer who likes to use magic to, make people laugh and share ideas, kind of bring people together, offer value, I think, just big thing.
That's great. And are you a full-time entertainer? You mentioned video production. Where are you right now? Deuce Gala, where were you career-wise?
Yeah, so video production is going to be my main gig. And that's been, for the last 6-7 years. And, magic, it feels weird to say it's a hobby, because I feel like I take it a little more serious than that. But in terms of like how often I'm actually performing or practicing, it's definitely, probably on a like a hobby level. Like, you won't find me like scheduling a gig, but if I'm out with friends or we're just having dinner or something, I'm like, everybody grab a napkin, going to like some Dan Harlan or something. So.
Okay, cool. And I know obviously Michael has created lots of routines in the past, which he's marketed through his own website and various other places. Have you got a background in creating magic? Or is it more performing that you focused on?
Ooh, so if there's anything that okay, like as of right now, we got a couple things in the works, which is kind of really excited about. But in terms of the past, if I've created, say like a show, but it would, in terms of anything like original, that's just probably going to be like my humor or presentation wise. Maybe a couple things here and there, but nothing that's gonna like end up on AliExpress,
Yeah, I know you mean. I know exactly what you mean. So we've got two really incredible performers. One with a background in creating magic tricks to sell. One with a background in video production.
Yeah.
So how did you two come together to form Deuce Gala? Where did all that come from?
So Buck and I have known each other for a really long time. We had this magic meetup group that would meet in Orange County called the Monday Night Jams. Some of our viewers might have heard of this. It was really popping off back in like, I don't know, like 2014, 2012, something like that, right around that time. You got like Jeremy Griffith and Alec Blanco, you know, these guys, David Bonfadini, they started the jam, and it was 4 or 5 people sitting at a table in a Denny's that quickly evolved into 30, 40, 50 people. You'd have people from all around the world coming in. Someone would walk in, you'd look over your shoulder, oh, Shin Lim's here, cool. And you would just go right back to your conversation. It was a very loose format. It wasn't structured like a magic circle type thing. It wasn't structured like IBM or SAM or any of those. It was very relaxed. You could come in, you could watch magic, you could be a magician, you could be a fan of magic, it didn't matter, right? Yeah. Buck came to a few of those, and we got to know each other. We chit-chatted and whatnot, and we did work on a couple of projects together in the past. I put out an audio book.
You helped me with my castle audition too.
Yeah. We'll get to that. So I put out an audio book. Buck produced that. I put out a couple of performances, a couple of video projects. Buck helped me produce those. And then, like Buck was saying, he not really a magician, maybe did tricks here and there, but not really a magician. Went from, I'm going to say 0, right? Pretty much, to becoming a Magic Castle member in, like, what was it, like 6 months or something like that? You started working on it?
Yeah, I mean, I had been in Magic for a couple years at that point, but you know, I think I was performing like Topsy Turvy from Royal Road or something, like, you know, I was like more interested in doing like bounce, zoom, whatever, you know, from McBride, like silly stuff like that. And then there was we had a mutual friend who, for whatever reason, was not a member. And I'm like, dude, like all of your friends are a member. Why aren't you a member? And he is like, man, I'll tell you what, I'm going to become a member before you. And when I do, I'm going to punch you in the face. So it was like, I still have not punched him. But yeah, so it was, you know, I had set the audition up for, I think it was like 2 months from like that moment, because I knew, you know, I needed that pressure to really put on myself. And, you know, this is like such a ridiculous bragging point. But again, going back to like the annoying real magicians, like, I'm like, you know, I got in without doing a deal. And still to this day, like I can't do a deal, or at least I've never done one, you know, like in a performance. So I'm just like, hey,
yeah,
hey.
So great.
Yeah, it's. I was super proud, man. It was a great moment. It was just like, holy crap, Buck did it, you know. And the moral of this sort of extended story is that we kind of developed this friendship back and forth with helping each other out. Well, some time goes by.
Can I mention something really quick? Really quick? Sorry.
Yeah.
It would have been probably around shortly after the audition, maybe 6 months or so, I started doing a speakeasy event. This is in Long Beach, Southern California. And O'Brien was like a staple there. He definitely was like the, whatchamacallit, that kind of, for me, like sort of held things together, because, you know, O'Brien is like, he's a professional, and he's got like that classic magic. You're not gonna worry, like, is he gonna show up or not? Like, is he gonna do something distasteful? You don't have to worry about that with O'Brien. Very reliable, very like just comes through. And, you know, he was about the cause too. So that was, I think that's also in part why, like, you thought about me when we wanted to work together, and then also why, like, I was on board, because we had worked together in the past, and you know, we just kind of got it, you know. So
Yeah. Oh man, speakeasy. Oh, that was some good times too.
So good.
It was so cool. We had like flapper girls there, and you had to knock on the back alley door, and they opened the little thing, and like you had to know the password to get in. It was so cool. So fast forward now to this year, just after Blackpool, I landed back in Los Angeles, laid my head on my pillow to go to sleep, and I was still kind of absorbing the whole Blackpool experience, right? And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool to like do Blackpool for real? Like, have a production company, have a stand there where people can come and purchase tricks that we created. Because as you know, Craig, of course, I worked with Matthew Garrett on the Ninja Plus stand. love Matthew to bits, one of my best friends in magic. But I really want to, you know, bring my ideas to the table as well. So I reached out to Buck and I was just like, how would you like to start a magic production company? And he goes, what, like put on shows, like theater thing or something? I was like, no, like a production company. Like we create magic and we sell it. And yeah, the stars kind of aligned and we started figuring it out and we hit the ground hard. We hit the ground running. And I don't know. I mean, the rest is kind of history. We've been working on this since pretty much the end of Blackpool. We've been working on this all the way through till, you know, we're about to launch August 1st. So, well, if you guys are watching this video, we already launched. But, you know, it'll be in a couple days when we launch from the time that we're filming this right now. So,
and if you're watching in 6 months, then we launched 6 months ago.
We launched 6 months ago, exactly. Yeah, so really the stars aligned, but I knew that, like, you know, like Buck said, we knew each other really well. We worked really well together. It was like, why not? You know, it was meant to be, as they say.
And
oh yeah, go on, Buck.
Okay, cool. For me, because we have like what 5.5 hours I think left. So
yeah, we got
for
plenty.
me, cool. You know, when O'Brien hit me up, yeah, I was just like, so you want to do like theater shows? Like, what's going on? This is so weird. I don't know why I thought that, but what was really great is the sort of synchronicity of it, I guess you could say, because like I had been, or like the few weeks prior to that, I was just like obsessed with wanting to come out with a project, not necessarily magic, although I was like, I'm gonna create a product called Magic for Non-Magicians in that voice. And I abandoned the idea eventually because I'm like, dude, like who really, like if you're not into magic, who really cares? And then so when so when O'Brien had hit me up, it was just like, wow, this is interesting. And again, like knowing O'Brien's reliable, knowing that he brings a lot to the table, to me it was just like, just absolutely, because I don't know, there's something that to me that's about the creative process that's just like so rewarding. And, you know, knowing that O'Brien's already been through this, has a track record, has an outlet, it's like, so you mean our products could like see the light of day? It's like, yeah. It's like, dude, no brainer, you know? So.
Wow. Okay. So I've got a lot of questions. A lot of questions. So
we got a lot of answers.
A lot of questions. So the first question I've got is kind of twofold. Why set up a magic production company? I know you said, let's set up a magic production company, and I know you were thinking about wanting to go to Blackpool and experience it as a full-on production company. But I kind of, I suppose, why it's I've spoken about this on the channel before. I don't want to say it's a crowded market. It's not a crowded market, but it's not the easiest thing to do by any stretch of the imagination. It's not like, right, okay, I want to set up a magic production company. It's not easy. You know, I know from being in that side of the industry. You know, it's like my business coach said, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's not an easy thing. So why do that? Why would you want to do that? You know, I firmly believe that Michael's involved in it, and I you know, I don't know you very well, but just from speaking to you for a few minutes, I can tell that you guys are both motivated, and I'm sure that this is going to be huge. But you've already told me how much hard work you put into it, and you know, you've both got other things going on as well. So I suppose the first question is why.
I have my answer, but I think I have my answer, but I think you should open. Oh, you should start, O'Brien.
Yeah. So for me, it's like I have these ideas, and I really want to put pen to paper, and I want to hit the ground running, and I want my ideas into the world, right? Because creating magic for me, it's one of my favorite things to do. One of my proudest moments is when you know, someone sends me a video and they're like, hey, I performed your Triumph routine for my friends and they got a video of it. I just wanted to share it with you. At Blackpool, I had a couple people come up and they wanted to perform some of my creations back to me. And just knowing that those people were able to use things that I spent a lot of time working on, you know, it really means a lot to me. That's my favorite thing about being a magic creator, is just knowing that other people actually give a crap and they're actually like, you know, using the stuff that I came up with. But the biggest roadblock for me has been getting the product out there in a meaningful way. The magic itself was fine, but kind of the whole package and the bow on top is what I was missing. I was missing good production value. I was missing a good marketing strategy. I was missing someone that could do a really nice design, packaging all my products and things like this. So that's why I reached out to Buck. That's really why I thought that we would work so well together. But I'm interested to know what Buck has to say about it.
Cool. Yeah, for me, for me, it's probably definitely like delusion, hopeful ignorance, because you're right. I mean, of course, like when you think of magic companies, you think of like the big three or the big two or whatever, and but there's just so many like other, you know, there's like tiers, right? There's like the big dogs, there's like the lesser big dogs, and it just kind of goes down. So it's like, what are you going to do? And for me, I think it's just this probably naive belief that we have something different, or I hate saying different or unique, right? Because that's like what everybody says. It's like, oh yeah, we're so different. I think we have something. What's like a word that doesn't mean different or unique? We have something alternative. I mean, well, okay, think about it, right? Like, well, in a market that is like basically saturated, and it's like it's not like magic. Like magic is big within like magic, right? But it's not, you know, this isn't like the health or like the wealth or like the relationship industry, right? Where it's just like, you know, it's like very niche, and. But again, I think, you know, we believe that we have something different to offer. You know what? Check this out. Richard Branson, right? I don't know if you guys have read, you know, Losing My Virginity or Screw It, Let's Do It. Like, do the books about it.
I've got a BA and an MA in business entrepreneurialism, and my dissertation was written on Richard Branson. So I know Richard Branson very well.
Okay, cool. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
it's a good thing. Basically, at the end of in the UK, when you do a degree, you have to write a dissertation, which is basically what the whole grade's about, and it's like the biggest thing ever, thousands of words, reference points, everything. And I did mine on Branson, so I know. I've read written everything, interviewed everybody I could interview about it. I know him inside out and back to front. So yeah.
Oh, cool. So did you read those books though?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you get it, right? Like, so here's a guy who's like, I'm gonna go up, like, I'm gonna go against, you know, British Airways, like a monopoly, according to the book, right? And it's like, okay, cool. So like, you know, what are you gonna, like, how many planes are you gonna start with? He's like, one. Like, really? One plane, dude? Like, you can't sell it for cheaper, right? It's not, you know, like all the things that you know, BA could do, he couldn't. Right? But he found his angle, right? Which was like, I'm just going to have everything purple and give people massages. You know? So it's like, so when you buy from Deuce Gala, right? You get a massage, like obviously. I'm just kidding. But, you know.
Right on to that.
No, but, you know, there's a talk about Blackpool. Brian's like, dude,
what happens in Blackpool stays in Blackpool.
Do not mention bringing a massage table to Blackpool. I will kill you. And
no, that's for the Ruskin. That's where the massages go down.
But no, I think it just has to be like this belief that we can offer something different or something better in a way that people will be like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, why not, you know?
Well, on that subject, and that's a really good answer. On that subject. So you are right. The magic industry is saturated. Like if you go back 15 years, one trick came out every 2 months. Now you refresh somewhere like Penguin and there's 20 new tricks a week. even more when you count downloads and stuff that's just coming out through companies that don't list through Murphy. So stuff coming out all of the time. And I think to stand out, you do have to have something different. You have to have something unique. You have to have a USP. You have to have a unique selling point. And I think of all of the production companies, I know quite a few of the production companies. I've worked with most of them, and I could sit here and go, okay, that company is different because of this. This company is different because of this. All the successful ones that stand out, they do so because of some sort of concept that they've made core to their brand identity. So what is it that Deuce Gala has got that's different, unique, or better to any other production company out there?
Well, we're giving massages with every trick, so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a big thing.
You wait till Blackpool.
Yeah. One thing that I've always, I don't want to say hate. Hate is a strong word. I don't want to say hate. But one thing that's always bothered anytime you purchase a magic trick, a lot of times you'll get the product, it'll come in a box. Sometimes, if you're lucky, sometimes it's in a Ziploc bag with a business card that you can see that they cut themselves and stuck in there, and it comes with like a 10-minute, if you're lucky, a 10-minute tutorial that teaches you how the trick works. That was shot on a camera in 480p and sitting on the floor in the corner, right? So,
hey guys.
Yeah. So basically, we wanted to not do that, but not only did we not want to do that, we wanted to give as much value, as much upfront information as possible. And when I say this, I don't just mean like it's a 6-hour tutorial. We really wanted to set the building blocks for something as simple as a 2-minute effect. We wanted to set the building blocks to set you up for success, so that when you go out to perform it, you're ready for whatever the environment's going to throw at you. You're not good at writing pattern. That's fine. We've scripted it for you, right? And I'm not just talking like, oh, just listen to Michael talk in the tutorial and you'll learn a script, but we actually wrote the script out for you, right? And we wrote it in such a way that it's not like, okay, so I want you to take the card and we're going to put it in the deck now. Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and shuffle the cards? You know what I mean? Like that kind of pattern where it's very narrated heavy, right? Where you're kind of narrating what you're doing. And I'm guilty of that. I do that a lot. If anything, but I've learned from this whole experience.
Jeff Stone calls it put and take magic, doesn't he? I'm going to put that there and take this here. Now put that there. Now take this from over there. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'm I'm very guilty of that. So if anything, being part of Deuce Gala myself has helped me to not do that so much. But we've scripted things for you, so you have an interesting set of pattern to go with the performance that the effect that you're performing. We've broken it down to a point where maybe when you're performing something is to go wrong, right? When we're out in the field, we're testing these things. These aren't, as I've heard you say on this channel so many times, Craig, this isn't a brain fart that we had, and then, we came up with the idea on a Tuesday, and then by Wednesday morning, it's up online and everyone can start downloading it. Mm-hmm. These are field-tested products, things that I've been working on for years, and even things that we're starting to develop as Deuce Gala, things that we've just put on the block and started coming up with together. Those things are being field-tested currently. So sometimes things go wrong. Well, guess what? We put those things that go wrong in the tutorial so that you're better prepared for them, right? Troubleshooting techniques, different fine points on subtlety, and the difference between, doing a double lift this way versus shifting your body when you do this, and turning this over, and gesturing and motivating your moves, and all of these different things. And all of this is just one small part of the tutorial you get. This is one document that comes with your video tutorial that's already very much in depth. This is all written out for you. It's right there for you to reference very quickly. First, people, Buck wants to jump in. Go ahead, Buck. I know you're dying to say something. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So hopefully in a year and a half when we're back on this thing or whatever, Craig, you can be like, hey, I remember. And for me, I want to, sounds so silly. I want to redefine the standard in magic tutorials or whatever, right? So I think actually one of the benefits of me not being, heavily involved in the magic community is that I get to see things from sort of like in a way, like a newbie perspective, right? So just a quick aside, there's like so much magic stuff that like I don't know how it's done, like intentionally, I'm at the like somebody's like explaining something and I'm just like like I just want to have my moment, right? So this plays into kind of like the depth that we go into with the tutorials that we film, because O'Brien's performing and he's doing the tutorial and I'm like, what was that? And he's like, well, what do you mean? It's this. I'm like, yeah, but like, what is it? And he's like, no, it's this. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I'm sure everybody who's going to buy this might know it, but like, what if somebody like doesn't really know? Like, we should probably flesh that out. And so, in talking about like redefining the standard, I don't even know what the standard is, but I can tell you that the stuff that we're doing, man, it's like when you get a Deuce Gala product, right? Just talk. Okay, like first of all, you just get like complete and utter sexiness, like just from the get go. Like that's just done, right? This isn't Cool Guy 5 million, on his bathroom floor, like, hey guys, I'm here with a new tutorial. I'm doing this, man, right? It's so silly. And but just so within the tutorial itself, it's structured in such a way to where you get only the information that's necessary, right, and no more, right? So like, and this is where I come in a lot too, where the way that like O'Brien would describe things is like fine, but I'm like, like let's. What am I trying to say here? Like
trim the fat.
Trim the fat, right? So, in going back to like the supplemental materials, right? Like the DG one pager, where it's like this is basically the tutorial on one page, so that it's kind of like on the go, right? Like maybe you can't watch it while you're at work. By the way, all of our tutorials come with not subtitles, captions. So that if you want to sneak it in, right, like you can do that, right? Because we know that not everybody can watch with audio. So that's one thing. Also, we have like chapter markers, which I don't know if anybody else is doing this, but for me, like, I mean, if you just want to like skip ahead, boom, now you can go right to that part. And again, there's you performing it, which you can do however you want. But if you want like a solid script, we have that just streamlined, right? Maybe it reads a little technical because it doesn't have ums and okay, so, but we want you to start from a place that's like fit, that's just like, it's just been condensed. To me, the hallmark of a good writer is somebody who can say the most with the least amount of words. And so that's, how the material is structured. Also, too, for me, that we have a DNS list, which is do not say. Right.
He was taking notes on his hand while I was in the middle of the tutorial. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I would be doing my thing and I would just look over and Buck's writing on his hand and he would just hold his hand up like this. And just all over his hand are things not to say. Actually, I want you to. This is interesting. Now I'm going to.
Yeah.
Instead of just going, right, and doing it.
Yeah. As a caveat, I'm pretty sure at least some of the tutorials that you're going to get are going to have some of those, because these are the things that like we had fleshed out as we were like defining things as we were going. So I just want to put that out there in case somebody's like, I got Pokemon and O'Brien said actually like 6 times. Like, what's going on here?
It was 5 times. Okay, it was
5. But and here's the deal, Craig. Like, does anybody really care about this? I don't know. Probably not. But maybe they'll start to appreciate this as this content starts to roll out. Because for me, and this has like been so annoying for O'Brien, but fortunately, this is why we get along so well, is that he recognizes the benefit of like just my really being like obstinate and insistent and like other like obstinate, other like 3-syllable words, you know, where I'm like, no, like, you got to do it again. I'm like even with, like we were doing the tutorials, and as he was dealing the cards down, they were all like face up, and then he does the reveal, and I'm like, dude, the fact that the cards were face up actually kind of detracts from the fact that now you show, you know, the final card face up, right? And like, again, like, does this matter for tutorial? Maybe not, probably not. But to me it does. And so it's like, we're going to redo that again. We're going to turn the cards face down. So now you're not seeing, your brain has nowhere to go other than to wait to see when that thing turns over, right? And so again, you know, from the structure, from the way things are formatted, to me, like the supplemental materials that you get, that just kind of have all that condensed down to just the. So again, you can have that on the go. Like I want people to walk away from our stuff like almost kind of feeling like they ripped us off. Like maybe I should go to their website and see if they have like a buy me coffee button. It just like throws a few dollars or something, because they're like, Jesus. And I'm like, it's just a tutorial. Why do I get all this like other stuff? You know, and man, it looks so sexy. You know. So and then another thing too, while I'm over here ranting, like step off my high horse and onto my soapbox. We've included. I wish we could include the actual tutorial mirrored, but it just wouldn't make sense from like a file size standpoint, and I don't think anybody would really care. But we include this PDF that has a link to like VLC media player. I mean, if you have a Mac, you already have QuickTime, where you can actually mirror the video. Because I don't know about you guys, but like I'm right-handed, which means I hold the deck in my left, and you're like watching a tutorial, right? But it's like opposite you, and so you're like, what do you do? You know, and especially if it's like, you know, think about somebody like I don't know, like Bill Malone, who's doing like 87 slides in one trick. You know, and you're like, what's going on here? This doesn't make any sense to me. And so, you know, we want you to be able to mirror that, boom, so that you just get it like quicker, and we can just get you in the game faster. So like that's kind of like what everything is designed to too. Like we bring that attitude towards it, where it's like, what is the quickest way to get somebody to learn this and then get them in the field doing it, right? And one more thing, and by one more thing I mean about 6, is
5.5 hours left still. So
yeah. I'm coming for you, Sean. I'm coming for you. New record. So yeah. So it's like again. Our mentality towards it is not like, okay, let's do this tutorial. It's like, how can we do this tutorial in such a way that like you get it the first time, and then you're like almost, you know, as quick as possible, you're in the field doing it. And, you know, O'Brien also talked about like troubleshooting, right? There was so many things when O'Brien was doing the tutorial. I'm like, you know, well, what if this goes wrong? Well, what about this? And you know, I'm the guy in Magic who spends more time on his contingencies then he does the trick, you know, like the whole thing, like don't run when you're being chased. Like I'm like still running, you know, like I'm just like, oh. It's like, dude, nobody cares. You just like turn it over. Nobody's watching. It doesn't matter. But I want to make sure that, you know, we address those things. And again, words have meaning, right? So when you say, you know, turn it face up, it's like, okay, but you know, are you turning this? Is it the hand? You know, which hand is it? And all those kind of things. And I mean, have you ever seen the movie The Aviator?
No.
Oh, it's definitely worth the watch. It's about 3 or so hours long. It's a Scorsese film, but you know, the kind of the joke that's not a joke is like, I'm Howard Hughes. You know, I'm like checking like the rivets on the plane, you know. And Brian's just like, you know, and I'm just like, yeah.
That's cool. That's very, very
so
cool.
Yeah, we just want to make it so. Here, the last thing on this until the next thing. Nobody can buy anything online. Like, if shipping is like more than 2 days, it's like, really, bro? Like, what's going on? And that's because Amazon is like, oh, you can get it. You can get it yesterday if you want. You're like, really? Click, and you're like, oh my god. Like, it was been there the whole time. You know, like, holy crap. Like, that's how fast shipping is, right? So people have this expectation that they're gonna get something in 2 days, and that's really kind of, you know, sort of our attitude towards it, where it's like, you've gotten some Deuce Gala materials, and then you get like the next guy's stuff, and you're like, that's it? Like, really? Like, it's not even sexy, right? It's like long, but he didn't really say much, and I still have questions. Like, there should be no question. The only question you should have is how can I give these guys more money because I feel like I just ripped them off because of all the value that they gave me.
Well, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, as somebody who reviews a lot of Magic products, a lot of the stuff that you said there speaks to me. I do see subtle tricks that have a very weak tutorial, no live performance footage. They half-arse it. You can tell it's been half-arsed. I watched a Magic review the other day that was, I watched a Magic trick the other day, and the tutorial, the trailer was longer than the tutorial. Like, it was just insane. So I could 100% get behind a lot of what you guys are saying there. One question, just to play devil's advocate for a minute. I find it really interesting when you were saying, hey, trimming the fat from the explanations and the certain things that you can't say. I mean, I don't know if you're like, is that, and I'm going to ask this question in a minute as to, I think all of the launch lineups are with Michael, right? But obviously at some point down the line, maybe you're going to involve other creators. My question is, you said there's so many different phrases that you don't want to have said. Different people have different styles when they're explaining Magic. Something like an actually or what I'm going to do now isn't necessarily a bad thing. It might be a bad thing from your point of view, but from the point of view of the creator coming in, it might be the best way to get the information across. And you kind of have to make sacrifices. So, for example, if Garrett Thomas knocked on your door and said, hey, I've got this incredible trick, and with Garrett's huge name, are you going to turn around and say, well, come on in, Garrett, but you better sort your crap out when it comes to, do you know what I mean? It's kind of.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's it.
I get what you're saying.
The question is absolutely. So Garrett, get your stuff together, man. And okay, so Craig,
what I'm trying to make is it's subjective. You and you're looking at it from somebody who's filming it, and but everybody's like opinion on a tutorial is subjective. There's certain words that you might not like that somebody else might. Like, I totally get the whole making it shot the best way. I love the whole scripting thing. I love including the script. I love the live performances. I love trimming the fat and making it, I watched a tutorial the other day and the guy waffled on for 45 minutes about his dinner before he even taught a trick.
What was he eating, by the way?
I think it was a salad. But yeah, it was like, I see all of that sort of stuff. But I think it's good. I just, imposing certain words that you can't or can use when everybody who watches a tutorial, it's subjective to them, but B, every single artist, like, I've produced, I've got 45 different products in active development through different production companies. Right. A couple of the words that you said or the phrases you said don't use, I'm sitting there thinking, I would use those, and I've never had a problem with anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, okay, I definitely want to chime in here for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna caveat or not caveat. I'm gonna play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate.
Play deist advocate.
Yeah. When we say that we have like a do not say list, we're not saying like those words are forbidden. And if I say those words, Buck's gonna take out a whip, right? The point.
A gun, on the other hand.
Yes. This is the United States, by the way. So, I mean, but no. So I think the point that we're trying to make is, have you ever watched a performance where, someone will, hi, can you do me a favor? Can you take out a card? Perfect. Now go ahead, do me a favor, show it to everybody. Perfect. Now, would you do me a favor and go ahead and put the card back in the deck? Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the cards now. Do me a favor, name any number. You know what I mean? Where it gets to a point where it's like kind of ridiculous. So the do not say these words law or whatever. It's not
mandate.
So much, yeah, it's not so much that you're not allowed to say these words, but it's more like be mindful in general of things that you say, because you want to keep things moving, you want to keep things interesting. Like you said, Craig, you don't want to be waffling on for 45 minutes about nothing, and then you finally get to the trick and you can say, oh, well, I have like a 2-hour long tutorial, and you're sitting there like, yeah, but the tutorial portion was like 20 minutes, you know?
So, Craig, this is like a really amazing question. A light just like went off in my headpiece when you said this, and I was like, wow, this is great. Like, I haven't thought about this. Here's the answer. So like, as Brian, we haven't debriefed about this. We didn't discuss this before the show. So this is live, guys. So here's the answer. The answer is this: that it was you said Garrett, right? Was it Garrett Thomas or Matthew Garrett?
Garrett Thomas.
Matthew Garrett Thomas. Bring a
that name just maybe because I'm speaking to him about an interview at the moment, so he's in my head. So I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's go with Garrett Thomas. So the answer is, by the time we bring on a creator like that, the standard will have spread as such that they will want to aspire to that because they recognize the value, of, how they say, like, we don't set goals, for the result. We set it for the person we have to become. I don't know if you've ever heard that. I read it on the internet. To me, that's the kind of thing that I envision, where it's like, I could do my tutorial like this, but I want to do it like this because it's, they see the value and the effectiveness of it. And, what it comes down to is, I don't mind using the word actually if there's actually a reason for you to use it, right? So there's one aspect of like the do not say list where it's like, was it essentially what you were saying? Or is it just like a filler word? Number one. Number two, there's just certain tropes, right? In magic, it's always like, I want to show you something interesting, right? Or let's do an experiment. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
let's test your intuition.
Let's test your intuition, right? So like those things, it's like, let's find a way to, like, maybe we should still say that, but we find a different way to say it. Or we just find something better to do instead of that. And then maybe this is a caveat, one of those words. In a performance, there's just more wiggle room. Like in the real world, I don't expect anybody to talk like the way that's in in the one-pager PDF. Like I'm the guy who writes it, right? But I wouldn't talk that way. I would do the core of it. But again, like I want you to start with, I want you to start with like the most, the most bang, and the fewest amount of words. And if you want to, like, when you're performing in the real world, you want to, say, hey, you know what? Do you mind just like doing me a quick favor? Like, just go ahead and take one, Like, that's fine. But, in the tutorial, like, there's no reason for us to do that. It's just like, you have your spectator here, and you will ask them to take a card, and they will take a card, and then you place it back. There's just, we want it to be fun and interesting, but it's like, do we need to know that you're going to go? Like, just say you're going. Like, we don't need that you're going to go. Just say you're going.
Yeah, I get that. But what about somebody like, for example, you're not talking about the tutorial anymore now. You're talking about the performance.
Yeah.
Two points on that. Look at somebody like Greg Wilson, for example. He hasn't got a fucking clue what he's saying before he got. I know. I've spoken to Greg so many times. He just makes it up on the spot. Like, just completely makes it up on the spot. Like, how are you gonna? You're not going to turn around and say no to Greg coming and doing it.
You never know.
you know what I'm trying to say, but like, I know he just completely ad libs the entire thing. He has no starting point, no middle, no end, and trying to script him and trying to turn around to him and saying, well, you know what, we need a script for this to include in the project. That will hamper what makes the Gregginess of Greg, if that makes sense. That would like kind of take away from that. So would you be making exceptions? And when you talked about, hey, I'm going to influence you, I'm going to do an experiment. Yeah, I agree. They're completely overplayed 1,000%. But there are routines out there where that's a valid presentation of concept.
And you should use it. Right? Yeah. That's such a big thing for me, is like, use it when it's appropriate. The same with like all of the words on the DNS list, right? And I'd have to think a little bit more about the like for instance, like the Greg thing, because I mean, I can see, as much as I would like people to aspire to that, like, I mean, does it have to be that way? I don't know, probably not. Like, there's no reason why Greg can't do what Greg does, but the one pager, the DG one pager that we deliver has the refined script, right? And then, I mean, hell, at that point, now you have options, right? Which I think is also something that's important to us too, where, in one of ours, what is it for the Strolling Chop Cup? Like, can I talk about this, O'Brien?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Craig, is that okay? Yeah, thank you.
I was about to say, yeah. The only people that watch this channel are magicians. Anyone that's got an hour into this so far and is looking for secrets,
So I mean, in the one pager PDF on Strolling, spoiler alert, it's actually like a 2-pager PDF. We have like 3 alternate routines, like, dude, and like that's not even, that's like, and we didn't even like bump the price up for that. We were just like, hey, how can we offer additional value? Like, okay, we've fleshed this out and that's cool, but look, I'm not here, like, I don't, at a certain point you're like, look, we can't solve everybody's problem, but hey, maybe we can offer like a couple, alternatives that would work if, you didn't have this thing. Or you just wanted to like switch it up. So I think options, my mom said, look, you always got to have options. And so, with the Greg thing or anybody else, maybe they do it like they would normally do it. And then, with the one pager PDF, you get that, but distilled down, in a more like streamlined sense. So, man, this has been a lesson. And free.
No, I'm fascinated. Like the stuff that you're saying is celebrating so much. It's why I'm asking questions, because I can get on board with what you guys are doing here, 100%.
And we aren't even saying we have all the answers yet. We're still figuring things out as we go. We're in the whole phase 1 portion of our launch right now, getting the website going, getting the company listed legally, getting products packaged and ready for distribution, all of that stuff. We're already, as soon as we launch, we're going to be looking forward into phase 2, getting oh, he's typing. we're getting ready to start going into magic shops and doing wholesaling, and we're putting out more tutorials. We're going to be filming more projects. So I want to be able to look back at what we did already in a couple years from now and be like, oh man, wasn't that cute? Like, we thought that we were so cool a couple years ago, and look how far we've come now, so.
And what do you know? And what do you know? Greg actually did the tutorial with using the DNS list. That's not gonna happen.
Well, I want to talk about the launch titles, but before I do, if you guys are so absolutely 100% into changing things up and giving the best possible product, which I can tell you are, one thing I've always, now I don't think anyone's reviewed more magic products than me. When you consider the time that I was on the Wizard product review to the time now, I think I'm reviewed more magic products than anyone other than maybe Michael Close. One thing I've always wanted to see is commentary tracks over live performances.
Is what?
Commentary tracks over a live performance. Because
cool.
Tutorial, you have the live performance, then you have a live performance again, but with the audio drop down, and you just have a commentary track over the top.
That is really cool.
Talking about
that's done.
But actually over the so you can say, hey, in the tutorial I talked about this. See me doing this at this point right now, and I mean I do them on my channel. I do commentary tracks on the 5x5s. Why no production company has ever done that, I don't know, because it's a huge way to learn and illustrate exactly what it is that you're trying to put across to incredibly young people.
No, that's great. And I do know what you're talking about. I have seen those. You perform the thing all the way through uninterrupted, and then you do it again. You're talking, you're pausing, you're saying, at this moment, this woman, she was supposed to put her hand out, but she didn't. So I had to kind of, ask her again politely to do it, and et cetera, et cetera. And you're kind of walking through during the
Let's
performance
be
can
honest,
happen.
from a video production point of view, it's not a difficult thing to do. It's a case of just, taking the exact same footage, dropping the audio down on it, recording some audio, and just dropping it in. And it's not a difficult thing to do, but I think it's an incredibly powerful going tool.
That is really good.
That's freaking huge, man. And you know what? We have time. We have time to do it. It's like a week. So.
There you go. Sorry to throw more on your ever-increasing plate, but I'd love to see a company do that, and I think it would be another thing that would differentiate you from anything else, and definitely fit into what you're trying to make your USP here. So, but let's talk about launch cycles, because when this video goes up, you've already launched. So what are you launching with? Well, how many routines, how many products, what we got?
So the way that we're structuring our website is there's going to be 3 categories, at least to start. Hopefully at some point when we're as big as Penguin Magic and we have a bajillion products on the website, things might change. But for now, the way that we're structuring it is you're getting effects, you're getting routines, and you're getting courses. Effects simply means you order something, it comes in the mail, it's all packaged and ready to go for you. We teach you the effect, we teach you how to perform it, you get the props and everything, bada bing, bada boom. Routines, these are going to be akin to like a digital tutorial, so you're not really getting anything. You're going to use objects you already own, and you're going to put a routine together, whether it be a card effect or a coin effect or magic with objects you can find at home. And then courses are as simple as that. It's a course. It's designed to start you, to meet you where you're at, and to improve you as a performer. As of now, we're launching with our very first course, the Beginner's Fast Pass to Magic. And it is to take someone that has never even touched a deck of cards before and getting them out and performing, not just tricks, but something memorable that can connect with their audiences, so that when they're performing something, people are like, wow, that was pretty good. Like, how did you do that? And the magic itself, it's not anything difficult. It's all self-working, classic magic, but with a modern take on pattern and scripting and all of that stuff. So it makes it feel very immersive. It makes it feel very well routined, and it's not disjointed. It's not, oh, I learned this trick and this trick and this trick on YouTube, and I threw an act together half-assed, and I put that out there, So
may I comment on that, Mr. O'Brien?
You may comment on it.
Thanks. So yeah, the Beginner's Fast Test, say that once. Volume one is this is like kind of almost sort of right, DNS. The Magic for Non-Magicians idea that I had, where I want you to be able to walk in a room and like you just see like some cards and you're like, oh, like, hey, and you grab the cards and there's no setup, right? There's no like special moves that you need to do, and it's all your beginning, middle, and end, and it's a mini show basically. I mean, that's the idea of the course. And I guess can I bring up the 2 myths that we talk about, Brian? Are you cool with that? Yeah. So for me, and this is so huge. So I've helped like a number of people with their castle audition, and I think where I'm very effective is, I'm not gonna like tell you to do like, I'm over here like I'm over here doing the I can't remember the name now, that's how much I care. So for me, like when I'm helping people, when I've helped people out in the routine, I'm not like, hey, like you should do this move and do that, right? Like, because I'm the guy who's like doing like the oops control. I'm like, oops, and I just do that. It's like totally silly. Don't know if you know what that is, Greg. But where I really come in is talking about like the structure and really the story, right? Because this is what everybody says when they're doing their castle routine, right? They're like, oh, like I just don't know if like I'm doing like crazy enough sleight of hand, or like I need more tricks. And so that's really what the Fast Pass addresses, is like those 2 myths as a beginner, right? Like, in order to be a magician, I need to know sleight of hand. false. And 2, like, I need to know lots of tricks. Also false. I mean, we all know the story, right? Where like Eugene Berger's like, well, you know, currently I know 9 and I'm hoping to get that down to 6, or how the story goes. So with that course, which it's funny that we just talked so much about that, really happy. That's kind of the essence, like taking the complete beginner who's never touched a pack of cards, and then literally tomorrow you can go out and just do something cool, because it's just streamlined in such a way where you don't have to think about like, am I doing this? You know, am I doing this? You know, this is a DPS, by the way, right here. That was a classic pass. It's like, no, you're just like, and you can just focus on what's really important. Because like, look, the bottom line is this, right? Nobody cares like how you got the card to the top, which by the way, you're not bringing a card to the top in the fast pass, right? But like to illustrate the point, they don't care about like the tricks you do or like how you did them. They care about how you make them feel. And so that's like the attitude that we bring towards the fast pass courses. Is it's like, don't like, you're gonna fool anybody at the castle, dude. You should be focusing on telling like a good narrative that draws them in and makes them feel something, you know, because that's like what people walk away with is all that matters. Like I remember, again, stepping off the high horse and onto my soapbox. I remember at the castle, it was so great. It was so great. These magicians were like levitating, like not even magically, just like a real life. Like, oh my God, did you see that thing that he did from an octopus to palm? Oh my God. They're just like losing it. And I was just like, who in the audience cared, dude? Like, it just came to the top. Oops, right? Like, there it is. Wow. So, man, I need to like cool off. Oh man, I get so passionate about this. But and
no,
the
but
other thing
it is. Sorry, just real quick. I was just gonna just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, because I don't have anything.
Hashtag not bitter. So good.
No, the honest truth is someone that knows no sleight of hand but is really entertaining can put on a good show, whereas someone that knows a ton of sleight of hand but can't perform their way out of a wet paper bag, no one's really going to care too much about it. So for this course, and we're talking specifically about the beginner's fast pass course right now. The idea is to get the deck of cards in someone's hands and out performing for people. I mentioned this in my last interview, but I'll say it one more time just for the folks at home that maybe didn't see that one. Practicing is threefold, right? The first thing you need to do is you need to learn the individual bits, right? So you need to learn how to use X technique or Y technique, right? And then the next step is putting the routine together, practicing it, adding the pattern, doing it from start to finish. You should be able to perform this all the way through. And the third thing, and this is part of practice, and I think most magicians don't remember this step, you need to go out into the world and you need to perform it for people. Yeah. Because you're never going to get better as a performer unless you go out and perform it. Because then and only then will you realize this angle, I flashed from this angle, I need to fix this. I asked the spectator to do something and they didn't understand what I was even talking about because maybe I didn't explain it right. Or, you know, sometimes I'm performing and I'll say a joke and I think it's going to be hilarious and it falls flat. And then other times I won't say anything and someone from the audience will say something and I'll be like, oh my goodness, that's genius. Like, why didn't I think of that? I got to steal that from you now, right? Yeah. Don't worry, the royalty check for in the mail. So, yeah, you have to go out and you have to perform, and that's what the Fast Pass is designed to do. Anyway, Buck, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you shifted me onto probably a better, less bitter point. Yeah, so this is going back to the question of the UPS, right? Where, again, like, this is not just like, I'm not talking about Fast Pass, I'm talking about in the products that we're putting out in general, where it's not just like, oh, this like sounds cool, like let's do this, you know, like field tested. So, you know, okay, for instance, somebody might complain like, dude, like your tutorials like didn't show like the full performance. And it's like, dude, our tutorials are designed to show you the kinds of reactions you can get when you pay people. Trailers. Or sorry. Our trailers are designed.
There is a full.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, run that back, Craig. You can cut this out, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to YouTube. So our tutorials. Damn it! I just did it again. Right?
Trailers.
Our trailers are designed. Yeah. Why didn't your tutorial show the whole performance? And it's like, dude, our trailers are designed to show you the kinds of performances you can get when you pay people lots of money to react that way. Duh, right? Anyway, that's our UPS. We have an F ton of money. We're like Uber in the game, right? Like the taxi, right? The taxi, not community, but they're like, guys, we have our plaques, right? Like, what's Uber gonna do? You see this plaque? Cost me $100 grand. And Uber's like, bro, we got a never-ending supply of money. We'll just run you out legally. Anyway, no, that's not true.
Bucket's trying to say.
Yeah, what I'm trying to, this is so great. Like, me and O'Brien talked about this ahead of the thing, and he's like, dude, just so you know, like, I know you're like very formal and you like to reduce things down, like just be very precise, but like Craig's podcast is very conversational. I'm a little concerned here that like, if we do like how you want these things, like we're gonna be done after about 6 minutes. And I was like, bro, that's how I am on the job.
Hold my beer.
You get me talking. It doesn't stop, man. It doesn't stop, right? As you can already see, Sean, I'm coming for you, right? We still got four and a quarter.
Well, Craig's been catching his naps in between because he's been going since about 5 a.m.
It really is, but no.
3 a.m. now the next day.
The point is the trailers are designed to show you the kinds of reactions you can get when you perform the effect the way that we teach, right? And the people that we use in our tutorials are people who we just run up on in the street and are just kind enough to say, yeah, sure, you can film me and entertain me for a little bit. And
we actually have some footage in one of the trailers where security kicked us out. But the security guard was like, straight up, he was like, dude, I got to come and kick you out, but I had to just let you finish because what you were doing was so dope.
Yeah, that was like really cool. And so, yeah, we're deeply grateful for those handful, because, we had next to no time, and we were able to get in like footage for like
almost all of them.
Yeah, 4 or 5 effects. And yeah, so anyway. That was to answer your question that I forgot what it was. Anyway, the question was, what are you guys launching with? And
yes,
O'Brien has fleshed it out. And I do want to make one note too. Due to this is actually, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Anyway, it's all Robin Williams' name. So moving on. Okay, sorry, Craig.
Now I'm curious. Okay, so we've got your first course coming out. That was great. That sounds awesome. It really does. I think that there's, there needs something like that out there. So
well, we're launching with like 7 products. So there's the first 7 products.
I want to find out with the other 6. So we got the first.
Yeah,
one.
Don't worry. We're going to spend more time on the first one.
we got the course. I'm very excited about the course. The course sounds amazing.
It's funny because the course is actually kind of something that like. I think for most people who follow O'Brien and know about O'Brien are not looking for this course. This was for me just so important because, I just want something that somebody can have. Like, it's like, okay, sure, you can go learn like all 17 tricks on YouTube. That's fine, but like, if you don't, for me, it's like, again, remember we talked about learning all these tricks and doing all this stuff. Like, this actually gets you. Like I said, you could be at a party. Somebody could go like, "Hey, man, like, here's a deck of cards, right?" It could be anybody's cards, and you could go like, "Oh yeah, so let me show you something interesting," right? It's like not the script, and you can have like this 5 minutes that again, it's like super cool, involves everybody there, and then at the end it concludes, right? Because like that's something also too that we all struggle with, where it's like, dude, you can do some more, but here you just got, it builds up, you get texture, right? And boom, there it is. So to me, that was important to have that available for the person just getting into it, who's like, where do I start? And it's like, right here. And you don't need to go anywhere else. You get this down and you have, like, this is the stuff that like I perform, because again, like I'm more focused on the entertainment side of things versus like, did you see that?
That was an invisible pass.
It's nice to hear about the live performances and the way that you publish trailers. Like, I do a magic podcast with Lloyd Barnes, who's been in the industry for a long time. A few weeks ago, we were talking about magic trailers, and there are companies out there, there are production companies out there that will include footage in the trailer that's not even the trick that people are buying. They'll just include the reaction from a completely because they couldn't get a reaction from the trick they're selling, so they've included a reaction from something else. And it's unethical practice that's just not good in the industry. So nice to know that you guys are approaching this the right way. Good.
And I'll be honest, if I see if somebody, if I feel that somebody's like overreacting, or they're not overreacting, but it's almost like it's about them and not the magic. That's something that I'm going to probably try not to put in there. In fact, can I talk about that one thing? With the actually O'Brien has no clue what I'm saying, but let's just say one of our spectators, guys, she was like amazing, and she was like kind of actually too amazing. It was just like, man, I really appreciate. And it was genuine. Like there was no doubt that her reactions were genuine, but it was just like, at some point you're like, does this look a certain way? It's like, but
we don't want people to think that we hired actors to be like in the trailers, because like you said, Craig, that's the thing.
It is.
But yeah, so
1 down, 6 to go. What's
6 to go? So
that's actually number 6.
What?
I said that's actually the Fast Pass is actually number 6.
So
number 5.
We're putting out a sort of a variety of different things. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is something called Pokemonty. Now, Pokemonty is a way to get instant rapport with your spectators for a couple of reasons. Number one, it uses Pokemon cards, right? It's something that a lot of people know about. People that are my age know about it. It's very nostalgic because they grew up with it. But kids can also identify with it. So basically what Pokemonty is at its heart is a modern take on the classic color Monty routine. So for those of you who aren't aware, you have 3 cards, one with a red diamond, one with a blue diamond, and at the very end, after you've gone through the whole process, you reveal a 3rd card, which says you owe me $14. And that routine is really fun. I perform it all the time at the magic shop. I demo it. I sell tons of those. It's a classic, and it's withstood the test of time. But I would never perform that at a children's event, because telling a story about how I got scammed in Las Vegas playing this 3-card money game, the kids are like, what? So all it is it's the same kind of premise, but with Pokemon cards. And we've taken it up a notch. There's a really fun kicker ending. No spoilers here. I would love for you guys to check it out because it really is cool. There's a nice kicker ending to it as well. There's a bunch of little gags and things that you can do during it. Buck, what do you call that section on the one-pager? Buck's...
Oh, absurd! Until I come up with a better title, it's Buck's Absurd Offerings.
Absurd Offerings.
Again, this has to do with
just funny.
being like, because when Anyway, I was gonna make a joke that wasn't funny, so I'll just
no. By all means, I made a career out of making jokes that aren't funny. And also, I'll tell you something. It wouldn't be a Michael O'Brien. It wouldn't be a production company with Michael O'Brien attached to it if there wasn't something with Pokemon in there.
Exactly.
So, I made one of those vague book posts months ago. We were barely figuring out what routines we were going to put together for this, right? This was months ago. And I made a Facebook post, something about, hey guys, I'm working on something really awesome. I can't wait to show you. And Daniel Chard, without missing a beat, goes, all right, guys, it's either going to be Linking Ring related or it's going to be with Pokemon cards.
He's not wrong.
Damn it.
That's so good. So good.
Yeah, so that's Pokemonty. Really fun. Another one, and this is probably one of the most anticipated ones. This is Strolling Chop Cup. This one has been in several Magicians Working material. This is one of those effects I was talking about earlier when I said, magicians wanting to perform things for me that they, that they learn from my tutorial. So Strolling Chop Cup is an enhanced chop cup routine that is designed to get multiple people involved and make the spectators the star of the show. So it's not about where's the ball, is it in the cup, is it in my pocket, and then the spectators just there kind of looking stupid, trying to figure out, trying to keep up with you. But it's more about, I'm going to put the stuff in your hands, the magic happens in their hands, and you can kind of take a step back and let them have the spotlight, let them have the reaction. So in the hands, walk around chop cup routine, no table required. And like Buck mentioned earlier, you do get the main routine taught all the way through. You get the one pager with that teaches all the subtleties, the script, and you get the bonus performances as well. So there's different patter with it, using different types of objects. Again, no spoilers. I'd love for you guys to check it out. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff has been really well thought through.
Is the Strolling Chop Cup a physical product, or do they supply their own chop cup and it's just the routine?
Great question. Thank you for asking. With Pokemon and with Strolling Chop Cup, both of them are going to be the best of both worlds. So if you already have your own chop cup that you're in love with, you've been performing with it since you were a wee lad and your granddad gave it to you as a gift, you know, and you were like 7 years old and you
or your
were
uncle
with the chop cup, you know, you can use that cup and you can just purchase the routine. So this is available on the website as a routine download only. But if you want to use the chop cup I use, you also have the option to choose a leather chop cup, handmade and really nice. It's the one that I've been using for the longest time now. So yeah, you have that option. Same with Pokemon Tea. If you already own Pokemon cards and you want to use your own cards, or maybe you don't like Pokemon that much, but maybe you're more into Magic the Gathering, or maybe you're more into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or you want to do the trick with baseball cards or football cards, basketball cards, whatever, you have that option. Or you can purchase the Pokemon Tea Effect, the set. It comes ready to go. All the cards are in there, and it comes in a nice little booster pack and everything. And one thing to mention about Pokemon Tea too, and I think we're kind of taking this approach to a lot of our products, is it's not so much about you performing the trick for people, but it's more about how excited you get about just even receiving the product in the mail. So what we came up with was, when you go to the trading card store and you want to buy Pokemon cards, well, how do they come? They come inside of a little booster pack sleeve, right? And you open up the booster pack sleeve and you take the cards out and you're hoping, you're like, oh man, I hope I get the rare one, the holographic one, right? So there's a little trick that people do where they take the top couple cards and they move them to the bottom so that holographic card, it is in there, it's the last one. And then they go through and they're looking at the cards and, oh, there it is, there's the holographic one, right? So what we did with Pokemon Tea is we set it up just like that, and not every single set is going to come with a holographic card. You do have a chance at pulling a holographic card that's in there. So it feels to the person buying the product like they're a kid again, like they're purchasing Pokemon cards at the card shop. So like little attention to detail like this, I feel like, you know, kind of rewind back, it sets us apart from other companies.
Did you mention the packaging, or are we not mentioning that?
Yeah, the packaging, it's like the booster pack sleeves, right? So it looks just like, you know, if you were to go to the store and buy Pokemon cards, it's really cool.
And that was an accident, yeah, because we ran out of Ziplocs. Yeah,
we were originally going to put them in boxes, little card boxes, and
well, no, I blew my joke. I said because we ran out of Ziploc. Yeah, we ran out of Ziplocs.
Ziploc bags. Yeah, but yeah, and so yeah, it just makes it fun. But so that's Pokemon Tea. That's the Strolling Chop Cup. Craig, you mentioned on this channel before that you really enjoy my purse framework. Well, good news for you, because It's Personal is going to feature my Spongebob routine using the purse frame, as well as 5 bonus effects. Some that most people probably haven't seen before. There's some new ideas in there. So you can kind of mix and match, and you can take the purse frame from being a small part of your act to bringing it out as a main feature. A lot of times people will open the frame, They'll pull out a coin, they'll pull out a sponge ball, they put the purse away, it's never heard from again, right?
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to make it that thread that ties throughout your act. So you open the purse, you take out the sponge balls, you go into your Spongebob routine, you put the sponge balls in the purse away, you go on to do some card magic. Oh, but I need a card signed, right? Well, where's my marker? Oh, I have it inside the purse. You take the marker out, you put it in, put the marker back in the purse, that gets put away. You're doing the effect, and wait, where did the card go? It vanished. Oh, did you check the purse? The card's inside the purse. So this kind of thing, right, where it ties everything together.
Quick note that because there's the routine option, and then there's the full package deal, and the full package deal. I don't know why I said full package. The full package deal, like the bonus stuff, doesn't come with the props for that. I mean, you'll read that. You read that on the website. I just wanted to point that out in case somebody's saying, "I got the bonus stuff, and I didn't get all these other things you mentioned on the Craig Petty podcast."
Yeah, so the set comes with the sponge balls, and you get the purse frame, and it's the purse frames that I use. And Craig, I think I've showed you this too. It's the nice wide ones. You get your whole hand in. You can do the moves and everything. You're not trying to do this 2-finger thing, or you're trying to Spock it.
No.
right,
hashtag up to the elbow,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you get the nice wide purse frames and everything like that.
I'm so
no,
sorry,
you're
Craig.
fine.
I was debriefed.
So it's personal.
I'm super excited about the purse frame project. I love your purse frame work.
That's been my opener for the longest time. I still to this day use that as my opener, whether I'm doing walk around or if I'm doing formal close up, or even a parlor situation. I get away with doing the Spongebob routine. And again, the Spongebob routine it involves the spectators. It's not a watch what I can do with my hands. There's a moment in the routine where I give each spectator, one to my left, one to my right. They each get a sponge ball. The ball vanishes from one spectator's hand and appears in the other one. Traditionally, most magicians will make it vanish from their hand and appear in the spectator's hand. But what I wanted to do was be able to step back and have the two spectators interacting with each other where I'm kind of not really involved. I'm just kind of standing there, right? And so that's kind of what I want to bring to the table with a lot of these types of effects. It's not so much about what the magician can do, but about what the spectators can do. Bring them into your bubble, so to speak, rather than performing behind a glass and having them watch you. So
yeah, I would say it's like performing with them versus at them.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's personal. Again, you can either purchase the kit. It comes with it's a 3 ball routine. Comes with the 3 sponge balls, and you get the purse frame that I use in the routine as well. Or if you already have a purse frame, you're happy with the sponge balls that you've been using since you were a wee little lad, since you were 6, that your granddad gave you, right? You can use those sponge balls too. Just make sure you wash them because they're probably pretty dirty. So it's personal. Another one is Ishkabaha, which is my take on the coins, the glass. It's a whole whiskey themed routine. It's been streamlined so that the moves themselves are not terribly difficult. There's no knuckle busters in there. So if you've never done coin magic before, with a bit of practice, you'll be able to do this. The only real move that you'll have to learn, spoilers, is being able to put a coin into classic palm. But the idea is it is a great piece of magic to perform while you're out at a bar. You're sitting at the bar with your friends, you're hanging out, and you ask the bartender, "Hey, can I get a glass?" And you just take out some coins, regular coins, nothing special about them, and you start doing this coins to glass routine. And then there's a nice kicker ending where you produce a full bottle of whiskey or your favorite drink of choice, right? So, yeah, really, really fun coin routine. Again, one that I like to perform in my act. It plays really big, so it's visual, but they can hear the coins moving across too. Buck had a question.
I wanted to. You brought something up that everything always takes me back to that original question, the UPS. So one thing that's big for us is being transparent or transparent information. In fact, we have both of our socials and credit cards on the website when it launches on the 1st. Make sure you're no. So No, but you know, one thing that we're working on is like a sort of like a star rating or like a key, so to speak, where we want to limit any doubt that you have about buying a product. Like, am I going to be able to perform this when I get it? And of course, that's going to be determined by your skill set, right? So we include things in the description that either let you know directly what you would need to know in order to perform this, or let you know indirectly, because it's not like we're going to list everything here for the obvious reasons. But you know, we want you to know that when you click, you know, buy, that you're getting exactly what you see. There's no surprises. There's no like, oh, what? Now I got to learn this, you know. And so that goes back to the whole transparency thing, and then really just again trying to, you know, offer a lot of value and making sure that what you get is what you want. So yeah, I wanted to point that out. Thanks for bringing that up, Mr. O'Brien.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, so the range of effects, as of now, most things I would say most beginners would be able to do. The key, and again, this is kind of a work in progress for kind of figuring this out. But the key as of now is a novice. That's someone that's like never touched a deck of cards. Maybe they've seen cards before. Maybe they play games, but they've never done Magic before, right? That would be a novice. And then you have your beginner. Yeah, so for the fast pass would be perfect for that. Then you have the beginner. This is someone that's maybe learned a few tricks. They can understand basic concepts like a key card principle and a glide, and you know, things like this, basic concepts of Magic. And then you move to the more intermediate magician. Now, this is someone that has been doing Magic for maybe a couple years. They've learned a series of sleights. They can perform things like an ambitious card routine. Maybe they've mastered the Elmsley count, things like this, right? And then you have advanced routines. These are routines that are going to involve difficult sleight of hand, your diagonal palm shift, right? As much as people like to say the pass is a beginner sleight that everyone should learn in the beginning, in my opinion, the pass, if performed correctly, is a pretty difficult move. So you mastered the pass, you are able to do more advanced sleight of hand. And then expert, that's just Jeremy Griffith, right? You're able to do things in your hands that are not humanly possible. So someday we'll have some expert, you know, stuff on there. But as of right now, I would say most of the things, if not all already, that we're going to be launching with fall between the novice and maybe beginner intermediate level.
I'd say upper beginner for sure.
Yeah, upper beginner level. Most of your viewers will be able to do everything that we're talking about here. There's nothing that's crazy different.
I just realized something. There's nothing too difficult that if you want to do it, you can't. Right? And that's like so huge. And I'm kind of throwing myself under the bus here because, you know, there are things that I'm like, yeah, if I put like a few hours in, you know, maybe like a couple days at best, like I can do that. Like I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to like rock and roll. And so, anyway, yeah. So there's nothing on there that like if you don't have a desire to do it, you couldn't. You know.
Like I was mentioning,
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You need to.
And I don't drink.
But you don't need to either. You can produce a bottle of water. So
water sucks. It really sucks.
Like I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite things is when people perform the things that I came up with back to me. Buck, I would love to see you performing the products that we have. I'll send you the links to the tutorials. It's a gift. You won't even have to pay for it.
Thanks, man. Do you want me to send you the links first so that you can email them to me?
Yes, please. Now, last but not least, right? There's one more.
No, we got two more. At least two more.
Two more?
Yeah.
So, there's two more. So,
no, that's totally the wrong way.
Yeah. No, I got you. So, progressive oil and water. This is one that I've been performing a lot lately, and it's one of those pieces of magic that is a perfect example of progressive escalation in an effect, so it's not stale. You ever perform or seen someone perform a piece of magic that's the same thing over and over and over? There's that trope in the community where it's like, if you don't have 172 phase ambitious card routine, you're not trying, right? Where it's like, oh, the card came up to the top. Well, I'm going to put it back in the middle, wave my hand over the deck, and this time the card comes back up to the top. But if I put it back in the middle again and I wave my hand over the deck like this, you're not going to believe it. But what do you know? The card comes back up to the top. Now, I want to try something a little bit different. Rather than putting it near the top, I'm going to put it near the bottom of the deck this time. Wave my hand, and guess what? It comes up to the top. You know, it's like, it just feels like the same thing over and over. And even the linking rings suffer from this. You link, unlink, link, unlink, link, unlink. You can only do that so many times before people get tired of it. And that's one thing I love so much about Matthew Garrett's work, is he changes everything, where it's like, by the time they start getting, okay, you've linked and unlinked things a couple times. Well, now let me do it with my wedding ring. Let me do it with this big old bangle bracelet. Let me do it with a bottle opener. Let me do it with a solid steel ball bearing. It keeps things interesting. The effect progresses. So with this oil and water routine, I wanted to do a throwback to Rene Lavon, one of the first magicians that I ever saw perform, that made me just think, wow, how incredible is this impossible thing that he did. He didn't do anything. Dude's got one arm, and he didn't do anything, and the magic is still happening, right? So with this progressive oil and water routine, the less you do, the more magic happens, right? So it starts with 2 cards, and then you do 4 cards, then 6, then 8. But you start handling the cards less and less as the routine goes on. By the time you get to the final phase, you don't touch the cards. The spectators do all of the work for you, and the magic still happens. So classic oil and water plot, but just, you know, done in a different way, in a way that it progresses. It feels like it goes somewhere, if that makes sense, rather than we'll mix the cards and now they separate. We'll mix the cards and now they'll separate. We'll mix the cards and guess what?
I do want to add that this is a two-handed version. So
this is a two-handed version, yes. Yeah, no, I'm not Rene Lavon. I'm not.
No, we should mention that on the key.
Yeah, this
does require 2 hands. Is that in bad taste? I don't know.
I don't know.
The guy's dead. I don't think he cares, but just
no. So yeah, so that's the progressive oil and water, and then the last one. This is our first third-party released effect where we didn't come up with the routine; someone else did. And this is the Walk Around Wild card by magician Michael Lomithi. Super awesome. Michael's been nothing but great. He was like, yeah, man, do whatever you want with it. And I was like, no, dude, we're going to produce it. You're going to be part of it. It's going to be awesome. So he gave us permission to feature his wild card routine. So for those of you who don't know wild card, you have a bunch of cards that are the same. So for example, they're all the 6 of clubs. And you have one wild card, like the King of Hearts, right? And then you wave the King of Hearts one by one over all the cards, and they all change. They all change into the King of Hearts. So now you're just there holding a bunch of King of Hearts in your hands. Yeah. This is another effect that also suffers from, look, there's a 6, and now I rub it, and now it's a king. And now I take this 6, and I rub it, and now it's a king, and now it's a king, and now it's a king. And it's just very repetitive. So Michael's routine does progress just in the same way that I mentioned that the oil and water routine does. It starts with 1 card, and then you do it with 2, and then you do it with a few more cards. You do it in the spectator's hands, right? And then you end with the spectator holding all the cards, and they're all the cards have all changed. So what does the ad copy say, Buck? Best part is how does it go?
Oh yeah, it's I think it was like the best part. Let me look it up real quick. Keep talking.
Yeah, it's like best part.
I was like specifically told we specifically agreed that I would not be reading from the script. So
no, but my point being is that the selling point of the thing isn't even the thing. It's like there's more to it than that. But
yeah, I'll tell you right now. Everybody just Bear with the.
I don't want to hum that. I don't want to get Craig. It's even been a long day for me, Craig.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, here it goes. Here it goes.
Here we go.
Wild card, wild reactions. An easy to perform effect that escalates in excitement and impossibility. The best part, no table needed. The actual best part, you can perform the magic in their hands.
There it was. There it was. Yeah, so we wanted to be able to perform in different environments, and Michael's routine allows you to do that. So you can perform this with the table if you want to, or you could do this in a walk-around situation. You can perform it in the spectators' hands, which makes it even more powerful. So big shout out to Michael Lomithi for partnering with us and putting out this effect with us. So yeah, that's the effects. We got the beginner's fast pass to magic course. We have the wild card, Pokemon Tea, the Chop Cup routine, the coins to glass routine, Ishtabaha. It's personal, the first frame project, and the progressive oil and water. So that's the lineup.
Okay. So 2 questions on this. Question number 1, are you already thinking of your next batch releases over the coming months and years? Or are you just being focused completely on the launch lineup and it's kind of like, right, let's get to this point and then we'll figure everything else out afterwards?
Yeah.
Can I?
So,
Mother, may I?
Yes, please go ahead.
The answer is yes. That's the short answer. The long answer is yes. So I would say that's probably the most difficult part about having a magic production company is just being obsessed with wanting to create cool stuff. Now, notice I said cool stuff. A big factor here is it also useful and practical, right? Because if it's not, then what's the point? So, yeah, I mean, I think launching with the 7 products was more a matter of restraint than anything else. To give you an idea of what the answer actually is. So, yeah, there's definitely an arsenal for sure. That's all I'm going to say on it. So.
Well, exciting stuff coming then, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. One other question on the launch lineup. I mean, they sound amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on them. From being in the industry long enough, I've noticed that there's 2 kind of general types of products. The first type is, I think, what we're talking about here, which are routines or tricks that are designed to be done to real people.
Yeah.
Who would work with, right? Classical magic, talk about Chop Cup, about sponge balls, talk about 3-part Monty, talk about oil and water, classical routine. The other type of magic tricks that come out are just weird, crazy. I'm not going to say anything bad about it because it's actually a pretty good trick, but the new thing that's just come out recently, Extend, which Finland is absolutely obsessed about, where you've got a card and
you stretch it out. Yeah.
Now, those tricks are
That's my kind of stuff.
And also, they have that kind of thing that I seem to, right, as somebody who reviews a lot of magic, it seems to me that a lot of the tricks that hit big, like really big, are those tricks that have got a toy factor to them. Like when you open up the box and you go, oh, this is cool, because magicians are just big kids at the end of the day, and they just play around with it, and they don't really care in their head whether they can do it. They just know, oh, look, I can pull this corner up and it snaps back. Oh, look at that, which is all Ryland's been doing for like the best part of a weekend. Now, I'm not saying that one's better than the other. Personally, I prefer the type of magic that you're coming out with, but you could argue that when you're throwing the toy factor into there, you're reaching a bigger audience, because there's going to be magicians who don't really care about performing classical magic that will just buy it because it's a cool toy. So on future releases, and I don't want specifics, are you going to continue to go down the route of working magic, classic variations on classics that are designed to work? or are you going to be branching into sort of that cool toy gimmick that produces visuals that all the kids like? You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to explain more.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's one thing I love so much about Tenyo's stuff is it doesn't feel like a magic trick. It feels like a toy, right? Without saying too much, what I can say is that there are some ideas in the planning phase for a few different things. Again, in order to kind of be different, I don't want to go the route of, oh, here's a card and you shake it and the pips move. And it's, you know, like those like different types of flap cards and things. A lot of these have been done, and not to knock any of them. They work perfectly for what they're meant to work for, social media or a quick visual moment that you need, right? We don't want to do that kind of stuff because everyone is doing that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to say that those kinds of things are off the table necessarily. We do have a couple of ideas that kind of toy with that in the works. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But
let me be specifically vague here, in that I definitely, and Brian would agree with this. You know, like being original, I think is something like worth striving for, but that's definitely not like our UPS. We're not like, you know, never seen before kind of thing. For me, it's about, it's funny when you're talking about like the like worker material or toy material. I was just kind of thinking of several ideas that I've had where it's like, but that's cool, but like maybe later, you know. Right now, like we got to focus on like real magic, you know. It's like we'll come back to you.
There's a couple of ideas that we've bounced back and forth that I think would fit that category that you're mentioning, and they are in the works.
You can bring those two elements together. I mean, I'm using me as an example just purely because I know my material better than anyone. But for me, Chop was something like that. Because what comes with it is just very kind of toy-like. Oh wow, you can do this, you can do that. That's amazing.
What is it called?
Presenting a classical trick.
What was it called?
Chop.
What's the trick?
It's a chop cup routine, but with a regular ungimmicked cup, and it's built 11 finale.
It doesn't have to do with Play-Doh, right?
Nothing to do with Play-Doh. No, basically,
okay.
I don't mind giving it away. Basically, there's you get a shot.
No, I thought you were talking about chopped dough, and I was just gonna say it.
So basically, it's a routine. It's it doesn't matter, but it's the agiles. To illustrate the point. So the whole point is you get a gimmick Sharpie with it, which has a magnet built into the middle of the Sharpie. So it allows you to take any bill and crumple it up. The Sharpie is used to sign the bill. You take any borrowed cup, and you can do a chop cup routine with it without needing any magnets in the cup, because the magnets are the pen. It's how you hold the pen with the cup. And so it's a classical chop cup routine that finishes a bill in lemon because you're using a bill instead of the ball. But there's that toy factor there because the pen is a cool to play around with, but you're also doing classical magic. So you can combine the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Using it that I've done.
Yeah, I think if anything, the struggle has been creative overload, where we have all these ideas. We need to kind of hone in on the ones that we know that we can produce right now.
What's that, Craig?
You don't want to saturate the market and like, right, here's Deuce Gala, here's 437 products, pick your favorite 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of dip your toe in, don't you? And then move on from that.
We have a DNS. We definitely have like a list. I don't know if the word metric is what I'm looking for, but whatever we're going to release, it has to, like at a bare minimum, it has to reach certain metrics. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, and I want to be careful here when I say like usefulness, because I guess maybe you might argue like a toy's not useful, but it's again, like putting something out for putting it out's sake, to me, it doesn't serve anybody, and I mean, just bringing a product to market is that's a magic trick in itself. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, for us, like if it doesn't meet like a certain standard, then it's like, later on, or maybe this is just something that we would, like give away or just be a value add to some other thing because, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, and there are things that we had on the burner ready to go, and there was a setback, and it's like, well, I guess we're putting this back in the fridge now. It's not ready yet. One thing that I think Buck and I have both agreed on that we do not want to ever do is a 2.0 of something. So and when I say that, what I mean is we don't want to put something out and then 6 months later be like, hey guys, just kidding, that version wasn't that good, but don't worry, I got a 2.0 version of this that you guys can buy now, and it's better.
I agree, 2.0 versions. There's some. Okay, Nomad Ring by Sky Member, they've just come out with their third version, and the only reason they brought out version 3 is because 1 and 2 were so shit. But
that's our point.
There are times where I think personally a version 2 does improve the product. So, for example, I'll give you an exact example. David Penn's Coin Vexed. The original Coin Vexed was an incredible way to do a coin bend, but it involved having 2 gimmicks that you had to carry in your pockets. You had to bring change out of your pockets to do this routine. And in version 2, it's exactly the same routine, exactly the same handling, but he built the gimmick into a Sharpie lid, which meant that you didn't need to carry the extra gimmicks around in your pocket. You put the gimmick onto the Sharpie, you put the Sharpie into your pocket, which you needed to do the coin bend anyway. Infinitely better from a working point of view. Didn't detract from the first version. It was still, in my opinion, the best way to bend a coin. There's no better way, in my opinion, to bend a coin than David Penn's Coin Vexed. But what he did in version 2 is he made it more practical, because he's built the gimmick into the lid of the Sharpie. So now you don't have to carry anything extra around. So what I'm saying is, if you're saying you're never going to do a version 2, what happens if you take a routine that you've brought out and it's like, well, you know what? This is such much better way of doing this. Still the same routine. What are there? Are you hard and fast that rule, or?
Well, in that case, I would honestly say it's a different routine. Really,
exactly.
I mean, the effect itself is the same, but it's a different prop.
Right.
Dave Penn might have marketed it as the same routine, but in my opinion, I would be so bold as to say it's not the same thing. It's a different product. Again, let me devil's advocate with the caveat here. When we say we're not going to do 2.0s, the core belief behind it is we're not going to rush something to market to then turn around and expect our customers to buy another version of the thing because we didn't develop it all the way through, or we didn't, work it out properly or whatever. If ever we come up with additional ideas after the fact, those ideas are going to be added in post, and everyone that bought the thing is already going to have access to it. So let's just say, I don't know, with the Pokemon Tea routine, we come up with a couple more ideas of what they can do with the cards that they got in the set. Well, we're going to add those into the tutorial, and they're going to already have access to that. It's not like they have to go buy the Pokemon Tea version 2. They're just going to already have access to that.
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of what I mean when I say, we're not going to put out a version 2. Now, if 5 or 6 years goes by and I want to put out Pokemon Tea 2.0 because it's kind of like the Pokemon Tea routine, but a complete overhauled version of it, that's kind of a different thing. That's a new routine that we're kind of adding to it. Same with your David Penn, kind of thing. It's like,
well, if Pokemon Tea involved different props, then it would just be a separate trick, But if it's just a, like an extended routine, like basically, like if you can do the new stuff with the stuff you already got, then you just get that. But if you have to, if new things are involved that would necessitate you buying them in order to do it, then for us, that's just a different trick.
Mm-hmm. Or we would do some kind of expansion pack add-on thing.
So you could just get that part and not have to buy the whole thing to get that one little part again.
Yeah. Again, just to kind of reiterate, the moral of the story is that we're field testing this stuff and we're really thinking about it before we put it out. We don't want to have that fallback to be like, who cares if we get it out? Just get it out, get some money in the bank, and if we have to redo it in a few months, we'll redo it in a few months. Whatever, they'll just buy a version 2 and it'll be fine, That's kind of the whole thought process.
I mean, I want to ask you the most important question now. What the hell does Deuce Gala mean, and where does this name come from? I've been waiting 2 hours for hopefully somebody to bring it up, and no one has. So I'm forcing the issue right now. What the hell is Deuce Gala?
Do you want the long version or the short version?
At this point, let's go with the long version. Why break what we've set precedent for in the last 2 hours? Let's do it.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the short version, and Buck will give you the long version. How's that for equivocate?
Okay.
So the short version of it is Deuce Gala, right? Deuce, two. There's two of us, right? And gala, when you think of a gala, what do you think of? You think of a black tie event. It's very classy. It's very posh. You know, it's sexy and sleek. And, you know, you're thinking of these kinds of things come to mind. People walking around with a tray and would you like some more doves? You know, and all these things. That was my my English accent for you, Craig. And so that at its kind of core, that's what Deuce Gala means. We're two gents. We have two different styles. But what we do is we come together and we put out, you know, these, you know, sexy products. That's the short version of it. Buck, do you want to explain the the long version? How we landed on the name?
Yeah. So where am I at in terms of beating out Sean?
Oh, you're well on the way, but you know when.
Perf. So when we were going back and forth with different names, I thought of the word or the term. Let me start over. Like you never began, dude. I know I'm getting to it. Just hold on a second. So, God, it's such a long story. So, I thought of the term two gallants, and I thought of it because it's from some lyrics from a member of Wu-Tang whose name is Ghostface Killah. I'm not sure if you're familiar. And in his song, I believe it's called Ghost Dini. Actually, that's kind of interesting now that I think about it, the Dini part. He has this lyric where he says, pull out black burners like tonsils, two gallants, hit him if we got to, right? Black burners, he's talking about a gun. And so I was like, two gallants, that just sounds cool. And I thought like maybe it was like a reference to like a gun because he talks about these black burners. And so like I looked it up and it turns out that it was the name of like an old, of a story by James Joyce from like the early 1900s. And I was like, oh man, that's like super cool. And I shared it with O'Brien and he was like, oh yeah, that's great. He's like, yeah, two galleons. I like that. And I was like, it's two gallants. He's like, no, I think it's galleons, man. I'm like, dude, Ghostface. Like, check out the YouTube link, right? And of course, of course, I was completely wrong. And this is like the second or third time that like Wu-Tang just completely let me down. So the first time I was in ninth or 10th grade. And it was in like history class. And the teacher's like, who can tell me how many U.S. states there are? And I don't think I've never had this much confidence in my life since that moment. And I was just like, pfft. He was like, Buck? And I was like, 52. And he was like, wrong. Anybody else? And I mean, dude, I like sunk into my seat. I was like, what do you mean? Because like Old Dirty, ODB, as he's called, an acronym, again, one of his lyrics were, like some he's like with any I think the first part has some like not family friendly words in it, but basically he says in any 52 states I get psycho killer Norman Bates. So that's why I thought it was 52. Now bringing it back, here we are again with another Wu-Tang member. He says two gallants, and I just got really hung up on that. And O'Brien was like, no man, it's cool, like it's two galleons. I'm like, no man, it's like the poetry, and I'm really big into like that kind of stuff. And so I couldn't deal with people being like, oh man, two galleons is cool, you know, I like the name. And so what I did was, I was like, well, how can I get kind of that feeling, you know, when we say this word, that vibe? but with something else. And so obviously Deuce just comes from two, right? No surprise there. And Gala, Galants, right? Two galant. So like I still got my Gala in there, you know? And it just happened to work out that Gala is just a freaking cool word, you know, because it does encapsulate sort of the vibe and essence of like what we're about, and for sure, like no doubt with, you know, O'Brien and the little paperboy hat, you know,
Yeah, it's a paperboy.
and yeah, and all that. So that's where that came from. So shout out to Wu-Tang for that one again.
And funny story, but Buck told me, what do you think of Deuce Gala? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Like, you know, like what is that? Like, what's a Deuce Gala, right? Like, I thought that he just heard that somewhere. I didn't realize he actually like came up with it, right? So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Wow, it all comes together. So here's a question for you. Obviously, you've got your website where people can buy everything from. Are you wholesaling into Murphys? Is it going to be going to all magic shops worldwide, or is it just going to be that people go directly to you?
So as of right now, people are going to just come to us. Already talking to Patrick and everything about just different things and what we want to do. We want to do our best to, obviously we want to get our products in as many different people's hands as we can, and going through Murphy's is the best way to do that. I don't want to say we're not going to go through Murphy's, but I also don't want to tell you we are going to go through Murphy's, because it kind of depends. Some things might go through Murphy's, some things might not go through Murphy's. Some things might go through Penguin directly. Some things might go through 311 directly. It kind of really depends on the product itself, depends on what we think will be the best for the company, what will be the best for distribution in general. What I can say is, for anyone that's watching, especially if you're not in the United States, if you live in the United Kingdom, if you live in Australia, if you live in Africa, if you live in the Asian continent, one thing that I can say is, if you would like to see our product in your magic shop, don't be shy to tell your magic shop to hit us up, because we are definitely going to be wholesaling directly to anyone that wants to put our product in their stores, on their online shops, and their brick and mortars, whatever. As far as wide distribution going through Murphy's and things, though, we still have to kind of figure all that stuff out. So it depends.
Okay. But at the moment, it's directly with you guys.
Yeah, as of right now, as of launch, if they want to buy any Deuce Gala products, they do have to buy it from the website. Yeah.
And it is, you ship worldwide.
Ship worldwide.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. It's exciting. You guys must be really excited, right? All of these months of putting this all together and back and forth talks. Just before you came on the on the chat, Michael, I was speaking to Buck, and he said that you've spoken to him more than you have your own wife. So, you know,
maybe. I mean, if you look at my my text history, for sure, it definitely looks that way. If you look at my texting history,
look at the phone records.
I'll be on my phone and I'll be like giggling, and my wife will be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." She's like, "You're talking to Buck, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes." So, yeah, man, it's been crazy. It's been a ride. And it's one of those things where I feel like I want to relax, because, like, oh man, we've been planning this for so long and now it's here, but we're about to launch.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, now it's go time. Now we're just starting.
Now the real work begins, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And
now it's where it gets really, really not difficult, but really kind of, you know, labor intensive. You know, put a lot of work in.
There's, have you guys seen Castaway?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie. So I always tell the story in like a situation like this, for example, where, you know, how often, actually let's run it back a little bit. Sean will come up for you. So where, you're developing your performance and you're more worried about the contingencies than, you know, the actual tricks themselves. And so what I relate this to, and again, with the company is, you know, we spend so much time like trying to get through the surf, or like, I don't know if it's called the breakwater, but just the surf, right? Just, you know, getting off the island essentially, right? Because that's, you know, with Tom Hanks, you know, boom, gets hit back, boom, gets hit back. And when, you know, heck, a lot of us just worry about even just trying to get through that, right? Never even start. And it's like, dude, like getting through that surf, like we all like, oh, no, it's like, that's not your problem. Right, that's not the work. That's like the work starts after that. So like, just hurry up and get to that, so that you can really put in the work. And so that's kind of where we're at now. Like, as much as it's been like, oh my God, and like, dealing with all these different hiccups, it's like the real work hasn't even started. It's like once you get through that, and then you're like laying there on like half a log, and it's just bird's eye view. It's just you and just nothing in water. It's like, okay, like, now the real work begins. Like, this is just the cost to get started, which I think a lot of people, for one reason or another, don't even start. They just, to quote Brian Tracy, right? It's just like they live on someday I'll, right? Like someday I'll do that. So anyway, off the high horse, back on the soapbox.
So,
run out of soap.
Here's the most important question. Are you guys open to working with other artists? How would they approach you? And can you give us some information on that? Because I know there's going to be people that are going to be watching this that are going to be like, man, this is exciting. I want to get involved with this. You've already said that you've got a release coming out with somebody who's not a part of Deuce Gala and is an independent guy. So where are we with that side of things?
Yeah, great question. So the answer to that is yes. We are definitely going to be having other artists come on to do Scala, and we'll be releasing their products. We'll be producing their products for them. We'll be packaging. We'll be filming. We'll be writing tutorials, all of that stuff for them. So how? Honestly, reaching out to us. I'll have links in the description of your video for anyone that has questions. They're welcome to reach out. Support@deucegala.com is the easiest way to get a hold of us if you guys have questions. What I will say is that we are already anticipating an influx of people asking us. We haven't even announced that we're going to be doing that, and we've had multiple people asking already. I have this trick, this trick, this trick. Can I send them to you? How do I send them to you? We would love for you to produce them. And we hadn't even told anybody about that yet. So what I will say is, if anyone has a product that they've really been working on, they've put their heart and soul into it, they've field tested it, they know that it's original, and they think that it'll be a good fit for Deuce Gala, and it'll be a good product to put out to the masses, I would love to have a look at it. It will go through myself, it'll go through Buck, we'll be analyzing everything, we'll be crunching the numbers behind the scenes to see if it makes sense financially and all that stuff. At the end of the day, we might say no, and if we do say no, it's nothing personal against anybody. We can't produce everything, right? We would like to be able to someday. Someday.
Okay. All right. So we know Michael is the nicest guy in magic, right? I don't think we can't really argue that. I would say that I'm a little more direct, which is the product of being good looking, I suppose. But I mean, it's like if you have an idea, because the bottom, like everybody thinks that their idea is great and it's gonna do everything, right? So we could qualify that. You'll still get those kind of submissions, but what you would do, and this will be on the website, is you would fill out the contact form, with the subject trick submission, include a link, to you doing the trick or the effect or whatever it is, with like a little bit of information. And if we think it's a good fit, we'll get back to you. And if we don't, that means we didn't. I mean, like in an ideal world, we can respond to everybody because, that's the kind of relationship I want to have. But if we don't get back to you, it's because we didn't think it was a good fit. And of course, anything that's like submitted is 172%. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
confidential.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say like secret.
We're not gonna
confidential.
Your product behind your back or any of that stuff. You don't have to worry about
it. Or even like in front of it. So yeah. So you can submit with confidence if you want, but just know that like I said, we have a criteria. That's what I was looking for earlier. That we have a certain criteria that we're looking for. Is it going to fit within what we're about? right? And does it make sense? Because, you know, if most people are like me, they're submitting ideas that are like cool, fun, but it's like, I mean, that doesn't, you know, it just doesn't, that doesn't work in the real world, or it just doesn't make sense, you know? So that's like to make a long story longer, you know, so.
Well, we're looking forward to putting out Blank 2 by Craig Petty. So eventually, Craig, we've already talked back and forth about possibly doing something like that.
Wait, hold on a second. You said if he's already put out Blank, why would we also put it out?
No, 2.
You said
Volume 2.
Okay. I thought you were talking about TOO.
Not
like,
also.
Oh. I'm here all 5 more hours.
That's awesome. So people should contact you, and they should put in your they should basically just submit a video, an unlisted video, Vimeo or YouTube or something.
Yeah, a link to a link to a video somehow. I could just click on it, we could watch it. And yeah, if you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Like Buck said, we want to do our best to be transparent. We want to be able to answer as many questions as we can. We really just want to do what's right by the magic community and beyond. You know, we want to see people that have never done magic maybe getting into magic because, oh, that's so cool. You know, you can do magic with Pokemon cards. I didn't know that. I love Pokemon. Let me check this out. You know, or, oh, that was so cool how is he taking things out of a purse with no bag? Like, that's impossible. I want to learn how to do that, you know? So we just want to do what's best for, you know, the community and beyond, and just put out good products.
And what makes a lot of money.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, and let me qualify that because that could be taken the right way. For me, it's all about just, you know, putting out products and material at the service of others, right? Not at the expense. You know, for any of those who are like kind of anti-capitalist, just had to like put that out there, you know, because.
Well, mine is, without being funny, you guys are running a business. You've already sunk a crap load of time into this that you could have, you know, spent with your family or done whatever the hell you've done. You've already spent a lot of time. I can only imagine how much money you've spent. You know, you're not doing this for free. You're doing it to build a business. So, you know, I don't think it's something you're ashamed of, that you want to make the business profitable, because making a business profitable is what's ultimately going to help you develop even more ideas. And if you can make a business profitable and stick to your core beliefs, which are great, by the way, then, you know, it's better.
Yeah, I'm definitely, you know, I come from a place so many years ago where, like with like the music stuff, I always just wanted to keep it real. So like I would sell my little buttons in my hat and CDs for, a CD is a compact disc for anybody who isn't familiar with that. You know, I'd always sell it for like at cost or maybe below, you know, because it was like, if you sold it, you were like selling out, right? Because it's like, it's art, you know, that whole bag. And what I didn't realize was I wasn't like making any money. And it, you know, it just affected what I was able to do right now. You know, there's a difference between the, what is it, like the, what is it, the, what's the artist thing, right? The, what is it that everybody says? The something artist? Oh, it's like the starving artist versus the thriving artist, right? And for me, like the starving artist is like the person who thinks that like they have to endure pain and like poverty in order to put out quality stuff. Whereas it's like, nah, guys, like we're thriving artists. Like the more profit we can create, like the more we can focus on doing what is important to us, and that is like putting out kick butt products and things that are just like cooler for everybody. And so, like I said, I just wanted to riff a little bit on that, because I definitely make no apologies on wanting to make money, but you know, I have that I know I can come across like kind of like Wolf on Wall Street, right? But it for me, it's and any like sort of anti-capitalist is going to hear it in that way. But, and by the way, like nobody cares what I'm saying right now. They're just like, whatever, dude. It's like, when's Pokemon coming out? And August 1st, by the way, or it already came out, or in 6 months if it's half a year from now. but the point is like, if it's not at the service of others, like then for me, it's why are we doing this? It's got to be win-win. No.
Yeah, we're not here to put out something that you're gonna buy and you're gonna be sad that you bought it. You know, kind of going back to our sort of like transparency thing, our open door policy. Buck has this brilliant line, because I was kind of in my head a little bit. I was like, dude, like what if people are just like, maybe I'm really excited about it, but what if they're not excited about it? And he goes, look, man, if people aren't willing to take the products that they bought from us and slap their mom across the face with it, they can send it back and we'll give them a refund, and maybe it wasn't for them, and that's fine. Right?
Let me be specific here. You have to be willing to slap your mother out of excitement. Okay. If you're not willing to do that with the product, then like whatever, man. Like like hit us up. Let's see if we can work it out. And if for some reason we can't work it out, I freaking send it back. Like again, like what is me having your $20 or whatever it costs? Like if it means you're not happy, so for me it's just like, again, like I said, win-win. So
and one more question. What happened with the YouTube channel, guys?
We don't know.
Here's what
for YouTube.
Here's what like kind of freaks me out. So I've had this happen before with another channel that I had. It was very obvious why like it got taken down. Like there's no debate about it. I mean the specifics maybe, but like the reason why it was like not. And anyway, #OnlyFans. But with this, like I went to like upload another trailer, and I was like, I can't see like the channel there. It's kind of weird. And then I had that idea, and then I had that notion of like, could it? And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. We've got maybe 5 videos uploaded, like only 3 have published yet because there's a schedule to go out. And sure enough, I saw the email, and it was like, we have removed your channel for severe and repeated violations of our community guidelines. And I'm thinking like, I know our stuff's sexy, but like, was it like too much, for like the robots, or just like, guys, like the quality's through the roof, like. So
you guys have seen it. It was just like our trailers. It wasn't like we did anything.
Just the trailers, I'd like to believe that like, like the haters just like flagged everything, and they're like, nah, but like nobody cares, So and of course I appealed it, which in my experience, usually they follow up within like 20 minutes, and the robots are like, nope, like banhammer, and you're like, really? And then you have to wait another 2 weeks, in which you can appeal again. But I don't know. Now, fortunately, we're not like a YouTube company, so it's not like our company's based on this. And I suppose that like, so in case the robots are listening. And by the way, that was like poisonous frog laced. It wasn't just a normal dart. That's important. So yeah, again, like it was like a WTF moment, but it wasn't like, oh my God, like we can't, if we don't have this up and running, we can't launch. So I'll give it like a couple more days, and then we just have to figure something else out. But the support's been like amazing in terms of people, checking out the YouTube channel and chiming in, and then
I had a number of people climbing in my inbox telling me like, dude, your links aren't working. Like, what's going on? Like the fact that people care enough to reach out, really means a lot too. So, and that's just one of the very many things that we've had to put up with, as far as just trying to get this thing up and running. Like, Craig, have you ever watched that show Parks and Recreation?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode where Leslie Knope is running her campaign, and so she goes to this sign printing company to have a sign, like the yard signs, made, and rather than putting her image on the sign, they put a bunch of text on the sign, like the hyperlink to the image, right? And I'm watching that and I'm thinking like, oh man, this is so stupid. Like, it's funny because it's so stupid. Like, that would never happen. And things very similar to that have happened to us when talking with manufacturers, packaging companies.
Yeah.
You know, we've dealt with situations where they send us a proof of the thing that we ordered, and we're just like, wait a minute, this isn't a proof. This is the thing that I sent you. You literally just sent the thing back to us that we sent you. And then the guy's like, no, that's the proof. That's how it is. That's how it looks. And so we're like, okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and approve it. So then the order arrives, and the freaking thing's too small for our product. The product doesn't fit inside of it. And so now it's like, dude, this doesn't fit. Can we send it back, and can you make it right and send us one that's the right size so that it fits? And then their response is, well, sorry, you approved the proof, so we're not going to refund you your money.
Yeah.
Have fun, you know, tossing those, you know, all those boxes that you bought into the trash. So yeah, just one of very many things that we've had to deal with. Like Buck texted me, he's like, you ready for some bad news? And I was just like ready for him to tell me like, yeah, so like the website crashed or something, like we're not launching on the 1st. Like I was just already prepared for that. And he's like, yeah, the YouTube channel got pulled for violating.
It's always funny at that point.
I'm just like, oh, that's no big deal. We can deal with that. We'll just get another YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten so hardened to it by now that these things, they happen, and we're just kind of like, we'll figure it out.
It's the same with any business. You know,
it is. It really is.
Especially in initial setup. You know, you set up a business, and it's why, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
It ain't easy. Not everyone's doing it. So, you know, the people that can weather the storm and put up with this crap are the ones that are going to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, we have plenty of umbrellas, that's for sure.
That's great. That's great. Guys, this has been amazing. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Magic TV. I'm super excited.
Craig, I'm sorry. Wait, is this, are we like wrapping up? Like, what's going on?
We made 2.5 hours.
That's it.
He has been awake for almost 24 hours now.
Whose team are you on? Are you Team Deuce Gala? Are you Team Craig Pettit? What's going on here?
I am team nicest guy in the world to make everybody happy.
That's true.
Yeah, it has been an honor to stay up to interview you guys. It really has.
Thanks, man.
I really do believe that there is a gap in the market for what you guys are trying to do. You know, I've spent my entire life building businesses and selling businesses, and I think that you're definitely 100% on the right track.
Thanks, man.
And I'm super excited. And you know what? A second that you launch, I will do a review show special on all of your stuff. We'll put reviews out on everything. Anything I can do to help. You know.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's incredible.
But no, this has been awesome. So where can people sign up on a mailing list? I'm sure you have a mailing list somewhere. Now's the time. Socials, websites, everything. Where do people go?
Well, let's start with the YouTube channel. You can just forget about it. So, so you can. So everything is like is going to be at Deuce Gala, right? DEUSE.
No. DE.
What is it? What did I say?
DEUCEGALA.com.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks. And so yeah, everything's gonna be like at Deuce Gala.
Over the screen.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
and then
we'll have it on the screen so that people that people can go to the right place.
So if okay, if you're gonna be basically the basics of the basics, just go to deucegala.com, and because this will obviously be released sometime in the present future. And so just go to deucegala.com, and if you want monthly magic to your inbox, definitely put your email in there. We didn't talk about that, but that's something that like at least once a month for sure. Maybe more than that, I guess, if we're feeling saucy. But we're definitely going to have a monthly email going out that's going to have some sort of content or product that is just going to be like, oh, cool, like this is, like, oh, like it's something that you're going to be able to perform or something that you're going to be able to do something again. Piece of entertainment, piece of magic. And so if you want to be a part of that, definitely put your name
I
in
think
there.
you need to be careful there. I think there's an unwritten rule in magic that the only reason to have a mailing list is to spam the ever-loving shit out of somebody who put their name on there.
No. We sell. No, we will sell. No. We don't spam, Craig. We sell it. There's a big difference. Okay, so completely against spamming, selling. That's. What do you think we started it? What do you think we started this for?
I forgot where I saw it, but I saw
it should be called Deuce Gala.
Someone posted, and if you're the person that posted this, I apologize for completely ripping it off. You can sound off in the comment section below. But I saw someone post something before that was like, I wonder how massive the pockets are of every single worker that says that this is an everyday carry that they carry from Penguin Magic products and those emails, because just about everything that comes out, that person has it on them as an everyday carry. So how big are their pockets to be able to carry all that stuff?
Ain't that the truth? But I love the idea of having content out there. I love the idea of actually giving people, substantial stuff.
Yeah.
Sign up to your mailing list. That's great.
Oh, and check out our Instagram too. The Instagram page has a bunch of interesting stuff on it. Not even just magic specific, but just fun content on it.
It's in the works. Like there's like maybe 2 things right now, but the stories are definitely where there's entertainment, and just to piggyback off of what you said, Craig, about the email. In complete and full transparency, for me, the idea with the newsletter and, in social media stuff is, again, just to offer so much value that we guilt you into buying our stuff, because you feel that, right? There's a company right now where it's not magic related, business related. I don't know if I can say this. Does it matter if I mention the company?
Go for it.
So it's a company called The Future. There's no E on it. Chris Doe is like the main guy, but at the time of this recording, I'm a sustaining member, and that's just because just the value that I've gotten from their content. Their free content, to me is just like, I mean, Jesus, like I just want to give back. It's not like I'm giving a whole lot, but if I could just, for me, that just like makes me feel good about making some sort of contribution. And so again, that's the idea behind the mailing list is, and the other stuff that we do is like just to offer so much value that we guilt you into buying our products. That also happen to work for you. Of course, I don't want you buying anything that doesn't work.
Don't buy our products because you feel like bad about it. Like we want you to perform the things that you buy from us too, but
guilt you into buying something that's going to work for you, that you
there
like.
You go. That's it. That's the one.
There you go. Yeah.
That's amazing. So Instagram, Facebook,
maybe YouTube at some point if we get the channel back.
That one out. And then obviously the website where they can.
Yeah, working on the Pinterest right now, but my pins aren't really up to where I want, so I'm just kind of everything's sort of on a back burner with that one.
Fantastic. And what I need to know as well is, are we going to see a Deuce Gala TikTok channel with you two doing weird dances and lip syncing to terrible songs?
The answer is, in a world.
Deuce Gala has a TikTok channel, doesn't it?
It does, but I wouldn't send anybody there. I mean, honestly, in order to do what's necessary to keep up with the current trends, it's one of those triage things where you're like, it's like okay, you're feeling all right. Okay, cool. Like moving on. Like you're missing a limb, but you're gonna survive. Moving on. You know, and so it's that thing of like, what's important here? Is it the lip syncing videos and the dancing? Actually, probably. So probably big oversight on my part when it comes to that. But
Doug
at some
Kahn's
point,
killing it on TikTok.
who?
Doug Kahn is killing it on TikTok.
Cool. Yeah, and so yeah, at some point that would be nice. But for right now, if you go there, you're definitely going to be disappointed. Yeah. The couple pieces that are there are cool, but it's not where I would like to see it at some point. I just, it's like deliver quality, magic products or dance videos. It's honestly, it's like kind of a close tie, to be honest with you, really. It's just harder to farm emails on TikTok, so we just do the other thing.
You have enough time in the day, right? Exactly. You got
or in the night. So.
Oh, exactly. I know how that.
Not everybody. Yeah, not everybody can stay up like you,
But yeah, seriously, thank you so much for coming on Magic TV. It's been incredible. I applaud you guys. I know that you'll be successful. I know you will. Just from speaking to you for the last couple of hours and listening to how passionate you are, that's all I need to know. And I want everyone that's watching this to support you. I want everyone that's watching this, go check out the launch title. I know from personal experience, even though I haven't seen the stuff yet, I know that Michael's purse frame stuff is the best in the world. And I just know that everything else is going to be amazing as well. So go check out their site. They ship worldwide. It's all exciting. Leave a comment down below and let them know what you think. And and also obviously don't forget, the Deuce Gala YouTube channel might be in limbo at the moment, but you can still go over to Michael's YouTube channel, which is very active and constantly has information going out on it, which is O'Brien Magic. Is that right?
That's right. That's it.
O'Brien Magic.
That's the Deuce Gala backup channel. So bad. Yeah. So bad.
There is a Deuce Gala playlist with some stuff there, so you can go check that out.
Wonderful. Guys, one more time, thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Thank you, Craig, for having us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously, man. It means the world.
You guys are awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Leave a comment down below. I'll be back again soon with another video. Go buy everything Deuce Gala's got, and I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.